please welcome Sharsheret immediate past president, Dr. Dalia Shoretz-Nagel.
Since 2005, we have been privileged to recognize the contributions of women and men who have given their time in support of Sharsheret. Many of those honorees are here with us today, and I'd like to thank them for joining us year after year as they continue to serve as Sharsheret ambassadors. Every year, Sharsheret engages thousands of students on campus and young professionals, educating the next generation about their risk and the measures that they can take to protect their health. And every year, there are a select few who stand out. It is with this in mind, Sharsheret presents the inaugural Next Gen Award to an outstanding woman whose career in healthcare stemmed from her love for community and passion to help others. And it all began to take shape in the Sharsheret office when she served as a college intern. Her dedication to others extends beyond her job to her deep involvement in social action, raising awareness by coordinating outreach events for Sharsheret's young professionals, and racing for Team Sharsheret. Please join me in welcoming Rachael Ebloom, a shining example to her peers and adults of all ages.
As the summer before my junior year at Stern College came to a close, I had this epiphany that I was not going to be in college forever. It also dawned on me that as much as I loved being a camp counselor, my days sleeping on a bunk bed were finally coming to an end, and that being a full-time camp counselor was not an actual career choice. What came next, though, was not obvious to me. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with this moment. I had no idea what I was going to be doing with the rest of my life. I have some friends who always knew they wanted to be a doctor. Some knew Wall Street was calling their names. Some wanted to teach. Sadly, I was not one of those. I did what all nice Jewish girls do. I asked my mom to help me figure it out. She suggested I meet with a friend of hers, Shira Dubitsky, who worked at a nonprofit I had barely heard the name of, Sharsheret. Shira could see that what I lacked for in direction, I made up for in, how should I say this positively? A little obsessive-compulsive behavior. I am super organized and meticulous, and she helped put me right to work at an organization that too is quite meticulous in the work that they do. Each Friday, I worked in the Sharsheret office, updating resources, putting together makeup and family kits, and packets to send out to healthcare professionals for their patients. I saw social workers and genetic counselors speaking with terrified women who had just been diagnosed with cancer and to their family members and to their friends. I saw in real time how a doctor cares for a patient, and Sharsheret complements that by caring for families. As I saw all the work that Sharsheret was doing, I wondered what else I could do to help the Jewish women and families facing breast and ovarian cancer. I started by raising awareness through Pink Day and joining a challah bake. I even joined Team Sharsheret and ran the New York City Half Marathon. And then, when I began to look for my first job out of college, I realized that through my own career pursuits, I could do even more to help those facing such a difficult time in their lives. I became a care coordinator at the Breast Center at Memorial Sloan Kettering, working closely with the clinical team to ensure that everything that was needed for the patient was done seamlessly. As a patient resource advisor, I sat in the waiting room with each patient, answering questions and helping to alleviate stress and anxiety as they prepared for the next step in their cancer journey. It was there, in the Sloan waiting room, where I experienced the depth of the Sharsheret community from a very different perspective. As I stood on the side of the room, I saw a woman entering rather hesitantly and serious. As she moved forward and looked around, she made eye contact with another woman, and in an instant, I could see a warm smile come across her face. I then overheard these two women greeting each other by saying, "I know you through Sharsheret," and they sat down together to wait. This took Sharsheret's peer support to the next level. During the toughest of times, the Sharsheret community provided a critical bond of strength and hope. So, as I stand before you, I'm reminded of what Rabbi Tarfon wrote in Pirkei Avot, Ethics of the Fathers. "You are not obligated to complete the work," he said, "but neither are you free to abandon it. It is our turn to step up to the plate, our turn to convert knowledge into power, our turn to become aware of our genetic risks, our turn to work hard to make our community the most supportive one it could possibly be. I ask everyone who is a next gen, considers themselves a next gen, or has children and family members that are the next gen, to contact Sharsheret and join their efforts. Become a member of the Young Professional Circle. Follow and share the work Sharsheret does for our community on your social media platforms. Refer a friend who is at a high genetic risk for breast or ovarian cancer to speak to their genetic counselor, and consider making Sharsheret one of your tzedakahs. Thank you to Sharsheret for giving me this opportunity to speak this morning. But far more importantly, thank you to Sharsheret for helping me find my calling. I'm very grateful. And believe me, so are my parents.
Thank you, Rachael. Each year, Sharsheret carefully selects one or more individuals with outstanding volunteer contributions to receive the Lisa Altman Volunteer Tribute Award. Lisa was a Sharsheret volunteer whose sterling qualities were evident in the last gift she gave to all of us, this wonderful event, that she envisioned as a way to thank her mother, her sister, and her friends for all of their support. This year's recipient of the Lisa Altman Volunteer Tribute Award has dedicated her life to healing and medicine. As a premier New York City plastic surgeon, she plays an incredibly important role in caring for women facing breast cancer. She brings her vast knowledge, skills, and experience to Sharsheret, sitting on the esteemed medical advisory board and presenting on national webinars. Her volunteer efforts do not stop there. Through her annual Bagels and Botox initiative, this year it will take place on June 7th, she raises critical awareness in the community and funds to support Sharsheret's programs. Please join me in welcoming Dr. B. Aviva Preminger, a most inspiring volunteer.
Christopher Reeves once said, "Once you choose hope, anything is possible." The word hope is defined as something you want to happen. When I see patients who have been diagnosed with breast cancer or with a genetic predisposition to it, the thing they often struggle to find most is hope. They need to believe that they will move beyond their diagnoses and return to their lives, their families, their jobs, and the activities that they enjoy. But hope doesn't just happen. It comes from reassurance, support, resources, and reliable and accurate information. Sharsheret provides women and their families with the tools that they need to find hope and to maintain it, often in the face of significant adversity. I first got involved with Sharsheret when a patient of mine made a donation to the organization as a token of her appreciation. I knew little to nothing about Sharsheret, but began receiving their newsletters in the mail. It seemed like a worthy cause, one that could help support my breast reconstruction patients, and I wanted to do something to get more involved. Like most of us in this room, I also knew too many people who had been affected by breast cancer. Unfortunately, quite a few of these women were very young, too young, much like Rachael Shoretz. They included my husband's high school best friend's wife, Beth Samuels, who passed away at the premature age of 32, leaving behind 2 small children, and my medical school roommate, Tali Lando, who's here today, a survivor and now the author of her own book, To Hell and Back. I saw their struggles, and I wanted to do my part to help. It all started with an idea that I called Bagels and Botox, a small annual fundraiser I established to benefit Sharsheret, And as you heard, this year's event is coming up in just a few short weeks on June 7th. From there, things just seem to happen. Sharsheret and the amazing women who run this organization just have that effect on people. There is a concept in Judaism of mitzvah goreret mitzvah. One good deed begets another. Once I got involved with Sharsheret, I just felt the need to do more. I was honored when they asked me to join their medical advisory board. Before long, I was pitching the idea of Sharsheret brand ties to Alana Silber and passing along a grant opportunity from one of the major breast implant companies. Soon my medical school roommate, who had struggled privately with her disease, had written a book and was volunteering to share her story at the Sharsheret Fall event. There is nothing better than teaching your children by example. Last year, my daughter Stella, who was bat mitzvah just last week, started a kindness club at her school, Ramaz. When I asked her which organization their first charity event was intended to benefit, she replied, Sharsheret, of course. I am incredibly grateful for this honor and for the opportunity to contribute in some small way to this amazing organization. I am so inspired by Alana Silber and Ellen Kleinhaus and the rest of the Sharsheret staff for their tireless devotion. Ellen, thank you for your incredible patience with me in planning this event. I am so lucky to have married into being related to you. I did not have the privilege of knowing Rachael Shoretz, nor did I know Lisa Altman, but what I know of both of them just blows me away. Lisa served as the co-chair for the first Sharsheret benefit luncheon while receiving chemotherapy and juggling the care of her 2 young children. She was also a dedicated Sharsheret link, supporting other women with advanced breast cancer, sharing strength she likely did not have with others who looked to her as a role model. At a time in her life during which it would have been understandable, even expected, to focus on herself, Lisa turned her energies outward, inspiring those who were privileged to cross paths with her. With deep respect to Lisa's mother, Idella Goldenberg, and her sister Deborah Klein, who are with us here today, I am honored to receive this award in Lisa's memory, and so grateful to all the people in my life who inspire me to give back and who help me make the time to do that, especially my husband, David Hiltzik, a shout out to the Teaneck crowd, and my 3 children, Stella, Nathan, and Phoebe. I am also so grateful to my parents, my father in particular, for inspiring me to go into medicine and for teaching me what it means to really care for others. I would also like to thank all of my family and friends for their generous contributions and for being here to show their support. A special thank you to Samantha Rubenstein for her help in planning this event. I hope that this day is just another small link in my personal connection to Sharsheret, and I continue to add more to the chain for many years to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Aviva. As we mark 18 years of Sharsheret, it is only fitting that we recognize those who have helped Sharsheret from the very beginning. Living here in Teaneck, New Jersey, Shari and Nathan Lindenbaum became fast friends with my sister Ruchi and got involved right away. Shari was committed to not only being vigilant about her own health, but also to educating the community at large. Shari and Nathan were instrumental in launching the Rachel's Dream campaign, and Shari and her sisters dedicated the Sharsheret Educational Resource Series in honor of their parents, Florence and Joseph Appelman. Today, a year after Shari's diagnosis, she and Nathan know firsthand how crucial it is to have a compassionate network, reliable information, and a sense of humor to carry you through the cancer experience. Please join me in welcoming our esteemed guests of honor, Shari and Nathan Lindenbaum.
Thank you, Dahlia. Good afternoon. As the Netflix star Sholem Shtisler would say, Hazdei Hashem, it is with God's greatness that I stand before you today as a healthy woman. Before I begin my story, I would like to acknowledge the following remarkable people. My parents, Florence and Joseph Appelman, who have guided me through life and have taught me so much about Hakarat HaTov, about gratitude. Mommy and Daddy, thank you. My in-laws, Belda and Marcel Lindenbaum, Alehem HaShalom, a blessed memory, who taught me a great deal about living a wonderful life, even when faced with cancer. My friend Ruchi, Aleha HaShalom. Nathan and I met Ruchi Shoretz, Sharsheret's founder, 18 years ago, as Sharsheret was just getting off the ground, and we loved her immediately. I would like to recognize Ruchi's parents, her sons, David and Shlomo, siblings, and family. Your daughter, mother, sister was a special visionary. Her legacy helps thousands of women and families. Jack Benny once said while receiving an award, I don't deserve all these kind words, but I got arthritis and I don't deserve that either. Well, I had breast cancer and we didn't deserve that either. My breast cancer story was sort of anticipated. Okay, you can call me morbid. I only found out when I was an adult that breast cancer ran in my father's family. My grandmother and 2 aunts were survivors. And therefore, I was very diligent. And when 2 of my paternal first cousins were diagnosed with breast cancer, I may have become a bit obsessed. I went for my yearly mammograms, sonograms, and MRIs. I got used to, have a seat, sweetheart, you're going to have to wait. We need to take another picture. I had a BSGI in 2009. If you don't know what that is, don't worry, either did the insurance company. Over the years, I had a few fine needle aspirations, biopsies, and a trip to the OR to remove some atypical breast cells. Waiting for the results were difficult and scary. There was a lot to think about and contemplate. Nathan and I discussed many times that if I ever received a breast cancer diagnosis, what we named bingo, I was ready to remove both my breasts. Several years ago, my sister Karen was diagnosed with LCIS, a non-invasive precancer. And in September of 2017, my sister Aviva was diagnosed with stage 1 breast cancer. Some of you may be thinking, with such a strong family history, am I BRCA positive? I have been tested for every known breast cancer gene, and my results were all negative. And as far as I know, none of my family members carry a mutation either. A year ago, right before Purim, I had my annual MRI. The radiologist saw a small irregular mass near the chest wall and told me that I needed to have the area biopsied. A few days after the biopsy, the radiologist called. The mass was cancerous. I immediately called Nathan and said, we got bingo. We quickly started working on our plan, called Sharsheret, decided on doctors, the surgical procedure, the date of the surgery, and that it was time to tell our children. Following the suggestion of my friend and Sharsheret's psychotherapist extraordinaire, Shira Dubitsky, we told each of our children separately. This way, each can react and ask questions without feeling that a sibling would think that their reaction was inappropriate or their questions were silly. Yes, this can still happen even when your children are all of driving age. Our children took the news pretty well. Initially, they were a bit confused by how serious Nathan was and how I was joking about not looking like a Kardashian after surgery. The month after surgery was interesting, especially dealing with drains and sleeping, but I was thankfully not in much pain and I healed nicely, medically and emotionally. And probably the highlight of my recovery was when my children threw me a small party, a boob voyage, the breast party ever. I spoke, I benched Gomel, recited a blessing of Thanksgiving. We played games like Boob Jeopardy and named Shari's 2 new breast friends. And we laughed. Ruchi would have loved this party. I truly believe that it's okay to laugh. And for some, laughter is the best medicine. It's important to recognize that not every breast cancer is exactly the same. And not everyone responds in the same way. And that's okay. There is no right or wrong. I learned from a friend that you need to find your inner strength, know that it doesn't have to break you, understand that everything has the potential to reveal life lessons, and find your funny bone. If I were to title my breast cancer story and my perspective, I might call it Myths, Tips, and an Attitude of Gratitude. And it would include something like this. Myths. If you're BRCA negative, you're in the clear. No worries. No, that's a myth. You still have the same 1 in 8 chance of being diagnosed with breast cancer, and if you have a family history, your chances are even greater. A family history of breast cancer is only from the maternal side. No, that's a myth. Know both sides of your family. If the insurance company doesn't want to pay for your MRI, you probably don't need it. No, that's a myth. Be your best advocate. Fight for it. Doctor knows best. No, that's a myth. Doctors, emphasis on the plural, know best. Get a second and a third opinion. And reconstructive surgery will help you look like a model. Well, that's a myth. Tips. Become familiar with your own breasts. This way, you understand what's normal and promptly report changes. Know if your breasts are dense. Ask your radiologist. If a family and friend can't be with you at the doctor visit, you could always FaceTime with them the minute the doctor walks in the office. And call Sharsheret. They have lots to offer, more than I ever knew to ask about. And now for my attitude of gratitude. I was grateful that my mass was found early. Grateful that I did not need chemo or radiation. Grateful that I had excellent doctors and that all the doctors we consulted agreed on the double mastectomy and the same reconstructive surgery. Grateful that I had the double mastectomy because my pathology report showed 5 high-risk lesions, and that was not including the cancer. Grateful to you, Nathan. Here. I could not have gotten through this time. There you are. I heard something. I could not have gotten through this time without you. I am blessed to have you by my side. Thank you. Grateful to my children, Zev, Tamar, Noam, and Kobe. You each amaze me. Thank you for being so wonderful, most of the time, for continuing to laugh and to help me stay super positive, and thank you for the party. It was incredible. Grateful to my friends and family, especially my sisters and sisters-in-law. Thank you for all your support. Grateful that with Sharsheret, we don't have to whisper about breast cancer. We can talk about it at Pink Shabbats and lectures and benefits. Grateful to Galit, I don't know where she is. You've impressed me since day one. And Ilana and Shira, I don't know what to say. We are here today to celebrate Sharsheret's 18th Chai life anniversary. Today is also a lesser-known holiday called Pesach Sheni, a second Passover. Pesach Sheni represents a second chance. Yes, women are diagnosed with breast cancer every day. But with early detection and treatment improvements, most of us can have a second chance. And with Sharsheret is here to help in every step of the way. So let's give life a second chance. And just remember, people who wonder if the cup is half empty or half full have missed the point. The cup is refillable, and sometimes with silicone. L'chaim.
Shari and Nathan, Aviva and Rachael, on behalf of the Board of Directors of Sharsheret, thank you for your inspiring efforts. Please join me for another round of applause and appreciation for the incredible contributions you have all made to Sharsheret.